Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because today we're diving into something that is going to make you question everything you see in your own reflection. We're talking about the woman in the mirror blinked back, a phenomenon that's been haunting people's nightmares and internet forums for years now. So grab a blanket, maybe turn on some extra lights, and let's get into this absolutely chilling story. So picture this. You're standing in front of your bathroom mirror at night. Maybe just washed your face or you're brushing your teeth. It's a routine we all do without thinking, right? But what happens when that routine becomes something out of your worst nightmare? What happens when the person staring back at you isn't quite synced up with your movements anymore? That's exactly what happened to Sarah, and her story is just the beginning of this rabbit hole we're about to explore. Sarah was a 28-year-old graphic designer living alone in a small apartment in Portland. Just your average young professional trying to make it in the city. Her apartment was cozy, nothing fancy. A one-bedroom on the third floor of an older building. She'd lived there for about 2 years and had settled into a comfortable routine. But everything changed one Tuesday night in October. She was getting ready for bed around 11:30, doing her usual nighttime routine. She walked into her bathroom, a small space with mint green tiles from the 70s, and started removing her makeup in front of the mirror. Now, here's where things get weird. As Sarah was wiping away her mascara, she noticed something. Off at first, she thought she was just tired. You know that feeling when your eyes start playing tricks on you. She blinked a few times, thinking her vision was just blurry. But then it happened again, and this time there was no mistaking it. Her reflection blinked, but not at the same time she did. It was delayed by maybe half a second. Sarah froze, her hand still holding the makeup wipe. She stared at herself in the mirror. Really looked at her reflection for the first time in probably years. She decided to test it. She blinked deliberately, keeping her eyes closed for a solid 2 seconds. When she opened them, her reflection's eyes were already open, staring back at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. It wasn't her expression. Her heart started racing. She took a step back from the mirror, and her reflection did the same. But again, there was that slight delay. Sarah did what most of us would probably do in that situation. She literally turned and ran out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind her. She spent the night on her couch, with every light in the apartment turned on. She told herself she was just exhausted, that it was all in her head. But deep down, she knew what she saw. And the worst part, that was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Sarah started noticing more irregularities. It wasn't just in her bathroom mirror anymore. Once, while walking downtown, she glanced at a store window. Her reflection was staring directly at her, not looking down at a phone like she was. Its hands were at its sides, just watching her with an intensity that made Sarah's skin crawl. Another time, she was cooking dinner and glanced at the reflection in her microwave door. Her reflection was standing completely still, even though Sarah was actively stirring a pot on the stove. When she looked back, everything was normal. Her reflection was moving with her, perfectly matching her movements. But she knew what she'd seen. She started documenting everything in a notebook, even setting up her phone to record herself in front of mirrors. But whenever she played back the footage, everything looked normal. The videos showed perfect sync. She couldn't prove it to anyone. There was no evidence except her own experience, her own growing certainty that something was fundamentally wrong. Her friends started getting worried. They suggested she see a therapist, get more sleep, maybe take a vacation. But Sarah knew she wasn't losing her mind. Something was wrong with her reflection, and it was getting worse. Then, she found the forums. Late one night, she typed into Google, "My reflection is acting weird." And down the rabbit hole she went. She found hundreds, maybe thousands of people reporting eerily similar experiences. The stories all had common threads. It usually started with a blink that didn't sync up. Then, the delays would get longer. In the most extreme cases, people reported their reflections doing things they weren't doing at all. One user wrote a detailed account of how his reflection started mouthing words to him. Another woman claimed her reflection started appearing in mirrors even when she wasn't in front of them. The theories on these forums ranged from the scientific to the supernatural. Some people thought it was a neurological condition, maybe something related to how our brains process self-recognition. Others thought it was paranormal, tapping into thousands of years of folklore about doppelgangers and mirrors being portals to the spirit world. In German tradition, Seeing your doppelganger is an omen of bad luck or even death. In some traditions, mirrors are covered in a house where someone has died to prevent their spirit from getting trapped. Then there were the quantum physics theories. Some users suggested that mirrors might be thin points in the fabric between dimensions, weak spots where the boundary between our reality and others becomes permeable. What we're seeing isn't our reflection, they argued, but an alternate version of ourselves from a universe just slightly out of sync with ours. It sounds like science fiction, but quantum physics has proven that reality is far stranger than we ever imagined. Sarah became obsessed. She spent hours every night on the forums, taking notes, and even started reaching out to professionals. Most didn't respond, but one researcher, Dr. Elizabeth Chun, was intrigued. Dr. Chun specialized in perceptual anomalies and had been collecting cases of unusual mirror experiences for years. She'd documented over 300 cases worldwide, and the numbers were increasing. Dr. Chun had a fascinating theory. She believed that human consciousness might not be as localized as we think. She suggested that our sense of self might actually exist slightly outside of our physical body. Mirrors, being perfect reflectors, might somehow interact with this extended consciousness. When we look at our reflection, we're not just seeing light bouncing back. We're seeing our consciousness recognizing itself. And maybe, just maybe, that process isn't as instantaneous as we assume. She conducted tests with Sarah over several weeks' brain scans, reaction time experiments, even sensory deprivation sessions. The results were inconclusive but fascinating. Sarah's brain showed unusual activity in the areas associated with self-recognition. It was as if her brain was working overtime to reconcile what she was seeing with what she knew should be there, constantly trying to correct an error that shouldn't exist. So, what do you think? Is this a glitch in our brains? A paranormal visitor? Or a glimpse into another dimension? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you've ever experienced something like this, you're not alone. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the strange and unexplained. Stay safe out there, and maybe don't stare into the mirror for too long tonight.